Okay, thank you, councillors. First on the agenda is the prayer and acknowledgement of country. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. O God, grant that by the knowledge of thy will all we may resolve shall work together for good. We pray through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal peoples from other nations who are present.
Thank you, councillors. Councillors, I advise the council is now web streaming its standing council meetings live to the internet, and as such those present should refrain from making any defamatory statements. Your attendance at this meeting is your acceptance of the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archives of the recorded council meetings and standing committee meetings. Councillors, up first we have CCL 20/81, which is the confirmation of minutes. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Diffie, a seconder. Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that one? No? I put that. All those in favour? Carried. Now we move to CCL 20/82, leave of absence, which is also CCL/2091, leave of absence request by Councillor Jones. But for this one, I'll have a mover of Councillor Jones's leave tonight, please. Move Councillor Etheridge, second to Councillor Grant. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Now we move to public forum. We have four written submissions tonight as per our new meeting code for this COVID situation we're in. First one is the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales Arana Division regarding CCL 20/93, the delivery program and operational plan, council budget and associated documents. Can I have that one read, please?
Mr Mayor and Councillors, on behalf of the Dubbo members of REI New South Wales Arana Division, I thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation in support of our submission to draft delivery program and operational plan for 2020/21. Our submission follows the submission to 2019 draft management plan and addresses the same issues. It appears not all of the 2019 matters may have been considered. We address the key issues of the two submissions in the matter of open quote, choice of housing types, close quote, which go back to 2005, which we refer to on the next page. In our submission to Council's Urban Areas Development Strategy Residential Review in 2005, REI New South Wales Arana Division stated, open quote, Dubbo is very well served for residential land and detached housing with a wide selection of lot sizes, but clearly lacks choice in housing types. There is a need to provide more choice in housing types to provide for the ageing population, downsizers and those requiring residential accommodation without large grounds. Close quote. Council's draft management plan for 2019/20 stated under the heading Our Community Expects, open quote, planning controls to be in place that provide for the development of a variety of housing styles and types, close quote, and in the 2020/21 draft management plan now before this meeting, page 23, Strategy Delivery Program, timeframe June 2022, open quote, a variety of residential housing types is located close to appropriate services and facilities, close quote. It is disappointing for the Dubbo community that unit sales have dropped to 35 for the rolling year to February 2020, and Dubbo falls behind Mudgee, a town with a much smaller population, and all other major inland regional centres, the same as in 2019. This indicates a lack of supply, not demand. Housing sales were maintained at a high volume. This lack of supply will now and in the future impact on housing availability, particularly for staff required for new developments, including the Dubbo Hospital. REI New South Wales Arana Division did not have the opportunity to know about the draft recommendations of the Hill PDA report prior to lodging this submission on 29 May. On 4 June, we were given a briefing on the report by Council's senior planning staff, which had a focus on housing affordability in Dubbo. There is not a housing affordability issue in Dubbo, and we have supported this market fact in a letter to CEO Dubbo Regional Council of 19 June 2020. There is a difference between affordable housing and affordable social housing. REI New South Wales, Arana Division, has confidence the current matter of the lack of medium density housing, land and flexible use can be addressed by the CEO, Mayor, Councillors and Senior Planning staff within a workshop, and look forward to Council acting accordingly after it considers the LPDA report. REI New South Wales, Arana Division, has had a consistent approach to all public submissions since 2005 as stated above, and it would appear Council policy is aligned. All that is required is Council to determine how it achieves an outcome for the objectives set out in the Council 2019/20 and 2020/21 management plan. Dubbo will not continue to be ranked as a modern growing city if it is unable to supply a wide range of housing types to all those living in our community and those wishing to relocate here to enjoy the many facilities this city has to offer. Dubbo must have a diverse housing offer competitive with other regional centres. Thank you, Mr Mayor and Councillors, and we wish Council success in the deliberations before it. We offer our assistance with market information from Dubbo and comparable regional centres at any time. Yours faithfully, Real Estate Institute, New South Wales, Arana Division. Adam Wells, Chairperson.
And our next one from, we've got the Dream Festival regarding the administration of the Dream Festival.
Dear Mr McMahon, future of Dubbo Regional Entertainment, Arts and Music, Dream Festival. Following on from discussions with a number of senior council employees over the past few months, I would like to confirm the intention of Events Dubbo Incorporated, trading as Dream Festival, to cease administering the annual Dream Festival from 2020. The festival is clearly popular with the local community and has demonstrated the achievement of many social, cultural and economic goals. However, this difficult decision has come around due to the limited capacity of the volunteer committee and difficulty managing such a large festival. In the past 2 years or so, the festival's growth has had to be curtailed to ensure all events could be delivered by the small committee, and despite succession planning, we are no longer in a position to deliver a festival of this size. It is proposed that Council take on the administration of the festival using the extensive expertise of its staff. Our committee is more than willing to continue to participate in an advisory capacity and partner with Council to ensure the smooth delivery and transfer of knowledge for future events. The festival is normally held in October. However, given the current restrictions of COVID-19, as at the date of this letter, and the amount of time required to organise an event of this size, it is recommended that the 2020 Dream Festival is postponed in the current format, which gives the Committee, Council and suppliers enough time to transfer the festival operations across to Council for event delivery in 2021. There are 2 key areas for consideration by Council for the transfer of event operations. Heading events. The festival has had a consistent attendance of 20,000 and above over the past 3 years. Of these, more than 5,000 attendances have been from outside the Dubbo Regional Council local government area. The economic benefit of the festival is conservatively estimated at over $600,000 per year, with an investment of $40,000 from Dubbo Regional Council. With the appropriate expertise and time, the festival would be likely to grow exponentially. Existing collateral such as events management plans, development application, risk assessments, marketing resources, implementation plans, budgets, websites, social media accounts, etc. would provide excellent resources to inform and support future events management. Heading of cultural. The festival has created a framework for the delivery of many cultural events. This includes art exhibitions and competitions, painting workshops, multiple music events and engagement with more than 300 school students each year for lantern making workshops. There is significant opportunity to expand these elements, however this has not been progressed due to the committee's capacity. Similar feedback has been provided on the cultural plan. Should Council agree to administer the festival, our committee would be happy to be involved in the appropriate capacity to provide advice and support moving forward. I would be happy to expand on any of the above if required. Yours sincerely, Anne Field, Chaired, Dubbo Events.
Okay, so we move now on to the third public submission from Margaret McDonald and Patrick Emblem from the Dubbo Environment Group.
Submission to DRC addressing the notice of motion addressing coal seam gas. Report dated 22 June 2020 from Dubbo Environment Group. Dubbo Environment Group appreciates the decision by councillors to once again address the issue of coal seam gas in the immediate vicinity of Dubbo. Whilst this council has voted unanimously to hold the position of against this industry in 2017, citing the dangerous possible impacts to our agricultural communities and business, we would be most grateful if more could be done in light of the political activity accelerating these proceedings in these recent weeks. The New South Wales Berejiklian government this month defeated a bill which would place a moratorium on the Santos Narrabri gas project until the Chief Scientist's recommendations were completed. 14 of 16 recommendations from the 2014 report by the Chief Scientist have not been implemented in full. Half have not been completed at all. This go-ahead given to Santos effectively opens up a possible 850 well gas field which extends north to the Queensland border, south beyond Golgong, west beyond Canamble and east to Scone. Local National Party member Mr Dugald Saunders broke his promise at a public forum before his election when he said, open quote, "I do not support any extractive industry across the state that has possible impact on water or livelihood on communities," close quote, by voting to defeat the bill. This week, the ABC, open bracket, 10th of the 6th, 2020, close bracket, reported that Australia's largest insurance company, Insurance Australia Group, will no longer cover farmers for public liability if they have coal seam gas infrastructure on their property. IAG's decision will affect some landholders within weeks, and farmers are now fearful they will have to cease farming altogether if they cannot get cover. Research scientists at the US University of Toledo have identified 201 chemical compounds in fracking-produced water. Many of the chemicals are carcinogens, solvents and petroleum distillates that can directly contaminate drinking water sources. This is the water Santos releases into holding dams which have already leaked and destroyed sections of the Pilliga forest vegetation. Drilling occurs directly above the Great Artesian Basin. In 2017, the New South Wales Government received almost 23,000 submissions on this project, the largest number ever received on a development application, and at least 18,000, 78% of these, were objections. The Climate Council reports that, open quote, extraction of gas, and particularly unconventional gas or coal seam gas, is a highly polluting activity. Massive quantities of methane are released into the atmosphere through gas exploration, extraction, processing and consumption, close quote. The Climate Council, open quote, contradicts our government who promises that by opening up more of the gas industry, they will lower electricity prices. Recent increases have occurred specifically because of increased gas extraction. This is the outcome of complex contracting dynamics with our largest export partners that have seen us paying more for Australian gas than our export partners overseas. This has been the primary driver of increasing electricity prices since at least 2016. Renewable energy, on the other hand, is the lowest cost form of new electricity generation and is still coming down in price each year, close quote. From Margaret McDonald and Patrick Emblem, Dubbo Environment Group.
Okay, now we move on to our fourth submission from Mel Gray, the Governor of Healthy Rivers Dubbo.
Thank you for this opportunity to submit comment on the coal seam gas development debate tonight. Risking the future of artesian basin environments and communities by allowing the dangerous practice of CSG in the Great Artesian Basin is the ultimate act of short-sighted self-interest and greed. The expansion of the CSG in the New South Wales GAB will inevitably lead to the permanent contamination of the ancient and irreplaceable artesian waters. We just have to look at the US experience, where abandoned wells are leaking toxins into the air, land and water unabated. Already in the Pilliga, we're seeing contamination of land and water with toxic poisons. The damage caused by this toxic industry can never be reversed. The gas field will drill through the dewater and aquifers beneath a recharge aquifer of the Great Artesian Basin, leading to loss of pressure and drawdown. The Narrabri gas project does not make any sense for the environment, communities or the future of farming the central west of New South Wales. Neither does the project stack up economically. The 850 well project would, in its whole lifetime, only produce the same volume of gas as we already export in a week. The New South Wales Government could choose to create twice the number of jobs that coal seam gas would by going down the renewable energy path. The report, Renewable Narrabri, Solar and Wind versus Gas in Northwest New South Wales, shows that through the installation of 622 megawatt of solar and 175 megawatt of wind power generation, 500 permanent jobs will be created by 2030. A far better long-term outcome for Narrabri than the booming industry economy and fly-in, fly-out workforce that coal seam gas creates. 97% of the local community has said no to the Pilliga CSG project. 22,700 formal objections against the project were lodged. We in the Dubbo region are very pleased the Dubbo Regional Council has declared opposition to the industry in 2018. Remember Council's own word, ... Coal seam gas production and development, including fracking, has shown to have negative impacts on water supply to agricultural and the production capacity of rural lands. Next dot point, the exploration and production of coal seam gas has not shown to provide any lasting positive economic impacts. Next dot point, the New South Wales planning system does not provide satisfactory consideration of the environmental and economic cost to the community from coal seam gas exploration and development. Dougal Saunders knows CSG is not popular, publicly announcing before last year's New South Wales election that he is opposed to coal seam gas. The community needs to be listened to when it comes to dangerous projects that jeopardise the land and water in our regions. Our common sense tells us that we must protect our water from pollution and exploitation from corporate interests. Thank you and regards, Mel Gray, Healthy Rivers, Dubbo.
Okay. Now, councillors, we move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the Merrill Minute. And that is, in my name, review of the village landfill and transfer stations as written. I formally move that, councillors. And I'll go on to speak for our councillors. The reason I'm going down this path and asking for effectively a review into our waste transport stations and village landfill is because I don't think we've actually got it right. As you would know, I do a lot of Merrill village visits, a lot of the times at the local pub, where villagers and landholders and people in that area are able to come to myself and express their concerns or things that are happening in the area or just have a general chat with them there. And I tell you what, one of the biggest things that comes up all the time at these village meetings is the recent changes over the last few years when it comes to the village chips and the village landfill. I don't think we've got it right. And I think the main area where we haven't actually got it right is our communication with the local villages. There's no doubt things have got to change in this modern 21st century. We've got to do things such as waste collection and waste management differently. There's no doubt about that. However, when it comes to explaining the reasons to the community, I don't think we're quite there. And also there could be some draconian things which we are doing which maybe does need a little bit more community consultation from our rural landholders and our village people on where we can make things easier and where we can provide potentially a better service. I'm a big supporter of our villages. I think our villages adds a point of difference when we're selling the Dubbo region to the greater state or even the nation. Village life actually, it's quite charming in a lot of ways. It offers a very, very different lifestyle, offers a great lifestyle for families, and it is actually good for our region to have strong villages. It's great for our infrastructure. It means that we don't necessarily have such congestion in our major centres such as Dubbo and Wellington, but it also spreads the load across our region. It's something that we should be encouraging these villages that we've got around the place, such as your Ballymores and your Mundaries and your Stewart Towns, your Mumbles, your Gearys, and even Wongarvan. I'm sure Councillor Moore knows all about Wongarvan. These are villages that we should be encouraging, and by doing that I think we do need to have a modern, up-to-date 21st century waste service out there, but we also bring along our village people on this journey when it comes to reform, but also not making it necessarily too hard, and that we get our best possible service outcome within the budget we actually have when it comes to operating this. So I formally move that, and I'll ask if there are any speakers who wish to speak for or against the matter as well. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I fully support your mayoral minute. One of the things that I've spoken about for years is the waste that is dropped in our rural areas. And along with you, the major concern out in these villages is our tip times, what we can take there, how much it costs and everything else. So I welcome the review. I think it's all important that we get it right. We have one shot at it to get it right, and we need to do that and make sure that it is easy, accessible, but environmentally friendly as well, the way that we do our business out in these areas. They are there for convenience. They are there for our rural landholders and people that live in these villages, so they need to come forward and make sure that they have input into this. We've given them the chance now to come forward and voice their concerns, so now it's up to them to make sure that when we have these meetings out in these areas that they come forward, voice their concerns, so we can basically get it right, so we can go back out in the community and we don't have to listen to this continually going on and on and on. So I applaud your mayoral minute. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Further speakers? Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, myself, I also support your motion. As Councillor Moore has said, it certainly is something that's been needed for a long time. It is something that the people of the villages and the smaller communities need. They need their tips, they need their rubbish, their waste transfer stations, and there's no point having them closed when people need to use them. So this is the opportunity for the community to have their say, get it, and come and tell council what they need, what they want, and obviously council, will talk through with these community members about obviously the cost involved and get an understanding of what these people really want. Do they want the full tip? Do they want the waste transfer? So I, as Councillor Moore did say, I encourage the community to get out there and voice their opinion and let council know what their thoughts are.
Further speakers at all?
Yep.
Councillor Diffie.
Mr Mayor, I commend you as well on the mayoral minute. The issue of village transfer stations has been ongoing. I do recall sitting in on a meeting with you last year with some residents from Ballymore, and I think this is a matter that does need further investigation and consultation to reach a desirable and satisfactory outcome for not only council but for the residents of these villages as well.
Thank you, councillors. Any further speakers? No? Okay. I put that. All those in favour? Opposed? Declare it carried. Councillors, we move into matters considered by committees. The first being the report of the Development and Environment Committee meeting of the 9th of June. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Moore. A seconder, please. Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No? I put that. All those in favour? I know carried. Now we move on to the report of the Infrastructure and Livability Committee meeting of the 9th of June. Can I have a mover of that, please? Councillor Moore. Seconder, please. Councillor Grant. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No. I put that. All those in favour? I know carried. Now the report of the Culture, Economy and Corporate Committee meeting of the 9th of June. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that? Oh, sorry, and a seconder, sorry. Councillor Lawrence. Any discussion or debate on that one? No. Put that. All those in carried. All those in favour? Carried. Yep. Opposed? Carried. Get it right tonight somewhere. Okay. CCL 20/88. Reported of the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting of the 12th of June. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Moore. Seconded Councillor Gumley. Any discussion or debate on that one?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move an amendment. And the amendment as follows: that one, that the information contained within the report of the internal audit dated the 15th of May 2020 be noted, and number two, that copies of the Chief Financial Officer's monthly financial review be provided to members of the Audit and Risk Management Committee.
Okay, can I have a seconder to that amendment, please? Second to Councillor Lawrence. Discussion or debate on the amendment? No, I put that amendment. All those in favour? Opposed? Declare it carried. The amendment has now become the motion. All those in favour of the motion? Opposed? No, declare it carried. Councillors, we move on to the report of the Disability Inclusion Advisory Panel Committee meeting of the 15th of June 2020. Can I have a mover? Councillor Diffie. A seconder, Councillor Ryan. Any discussion or debate on that one? No? Other to say that it's good that actual things are starting to happen in that committee. So I put that all those in favour. All those opposed? Declare it carried. And we move on, councillors, to notices of motion. CCL 20/90, coal seam gas. Can I have a move of that one, Councillor Moore?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I move CCL 20/90 and that Dubbo Regional Council recommits its opposition to coal seam gas, and two, that Council write to the member for Dubbo, Mr Dougal Saunders MP, requesting he represent the communities concerned about coal seam gas to the State Parliament and Government.
Can I have a second of that one, please? Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate on that matter? Councillor Duffy.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary less than significant interest as I'm employed by New South Wales Parliament as the Senior Electorate Officer for the State Member of the Dubbo Electorate, and I will be leaving the room on this occasion.
Okay. Okay, councillors, so any further discussion? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I bring this motion to Council tonight because we need to put a little bit of a word back into our local members' mind that this council has previously moved forward to have its opposition to coal seam gas, especially in our area, due to our high risk of aquifers that are underground. And I must say, Mr Mayor, that during the recent drought, that these aquifers work very well. They supported this village, they supported the villages and the city of Dubbo, including Wellington and our surrounds. It is very important that this community puts its concerns forward to our state member because we don't want that jeopardised. I've said this before, that if these water aquifers are jeopardised, this city is jeopardised. Not only is this city jeopardised, its surrounds are jeopardised. Mr Mayor, I find it very disheartening that every councillor in this council chambers agreed. Sorry, I don't find it disheartening. I find it very rewarding that every councillor in this council agreed with me. Agreed when this was first put to council that we didn't like coal seam gas coming into our area. I'm quite sure that every councillor here tonight that's left in the chamber will move forward and recommit their commitment to their opposition to coal seam gas. It's very unfortunate that our local member voted in favour for exploration work to continue to potentially have the ability to wreck our aquifers and dismantle, if not managed properly, this whole city. I find it very disturbing that he has not put his and our electorate forward. And it amazes me, Mr Mayor, on Saturday we're at the farmers' markets, and the local member came up to myself, Councillor Gumley and you, and said, with members of the public there, and said, what dodgy organisation do we have here? I can tell him I know which is dodgy. The state government is dodgy, extremely dodgy. 55,000 people within this community, he has been dodgy to. In the last election, he committed to voting no, but now he's voted yes. That is very disgraceful, very disturbing, and members of this community, and this is why I brought this notice of motion to council, are very upset and extremely annoyed that he has not followed through on his election commitment to say no to this. I hope my fellow councillors agree with me tonight. I hope that we go forward and state our facts to the local member that this is very concerning. And it is concerning in the long run. Any mining next to water, especially that we rely on in drought, but we rely on even when our dam is low, can be potentially jeopardised because of a decision that the National Party wanted to put forward to appease people of the mining industry. I can tell you, Mr Mayor, if the National Party is agriculture's best friend, I'd hate to see who their enemy is. Thank you.
Further Speakers, I've got Councillor Grant and Councillor Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, just a very quick question through yourself, and I do support the motion that has been put forward by Councillor Moore, but I just have a question around the... do we know if there's any exploration licences that have been issued in the local government area at this point, or are we nothing that yet?
Councillor Moore, is that question directed to Councillor Moore?
No, sorry, it could be to anyone. If anyone can answer that,
suppose
I'm just seeking clarification around...
I suppose we'll ask Councillor Moore first and then his staff member.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you to Councillor Grant. This motion has only just been passed through the New South Wales Parliament, so I'd probably say that the exploration licences are now being put forward to the relevant bodies for either approval or denial. I'll just add on to that, Councillor Grant. This city is under the Artesian Basin, which runs well through New South Wales, from here to the Queensland border and into Queensland itself. So whether any mining is taking place inside our region, it's inside the Dubbo region, it can still have effect outside our region, especially if it's transferred through the water system.
The Speakers, Councillor Grant, you're happy?
Oh, that's good.
Councillor Lawrence.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I certainly support the motion, and I commend Councillor Moore for bringing it back to Council. Certainly it's timely. The Santos project in the Pilliga is going to be a 20-year project. It involves 850 CSG wells that will be drilled. It'll take up 1,000 hectares of land for those drill sites, but they will be spread over 100,000 hectares. So this is really the industrialisation of the Pilliga for a period of decades. And anyone who knows anything about CSG, regardless of what side of the debate they're on, will tell you that this has implications for our area. There have been PELs issued in the past in the Dubbo region, and there has been lots of discussion about the Narromine one that has been previously issued and some just north of Dubbo. And it was only a couple of years ago that the ABC reported that speaking of the Pilliga project, they said, if successful, Santos may seek other co-investors to help expand the gas industry in New South Wales, perhaps on neighbouring petroleum exploration leases to the north, east and the south. That's us. This is a massively profitable project. They've spent already $2 billion on getting it done. And everyone knows that it's hung in the balance in terms of the politics of it. Yet they have been willing to spend $2 billion already on the project. That shows the profit involved in it. There have been exploration licences issued, as I've said, to the east, to the north and the south, which includes our region. If this project is seen as acceptable and this project happens, we will see it expanding here. I was involved in the last state election as a candidate, so I had the opportunity to see up front what Dugald said and didn't say about the issue of CSG. There was a submission read out in public forum for Margaret McDonald, which said that Dugald said that he would never support any extractive industry that posed a threat to water and agriculture, etc. Now, those words are not unambiguous, but in fact, Ms McDonald was being kind to Dugald because I was there when he said that, and the context in which he said it, and the other words in which he said, and the question that he was asked, left it absolutely crystal clear to everybody in the room at Mudgee, who was at the Anyone But Nats forum in Mudgee, that Dugald opposed coal seam gas. And Dougal also said in response to the question that he would fight tooth and nail to oppose it within the National Party and within the government, because when he said what he said, in response to a specific question about whether he supported CSG, there was a follow-up question where he was asked, well, fine, that's your personal view, but what's the National Party view? And in response to that, Dougal said, well, look, and he was sort of vague in what he said, but then he came back and said, I'll fight tooth and nail about it, I'll fight tooth and nail about it. Now, I don't think anyone who followed the debate in State Parliament recently thinks that Dougal has fought tooth and nail on this issue at all. And we all know that if someone's involved in a political party, I suppose there's a debate inside the party and then there's a debate in Parliament, but there is absolutely no sign that Dougal has fought tooth and nail on this issue inside the National Party, and I don't believe for a second that he has. And if anyone out there, if they're in the community, is interested in whether he has or he hasn't, it would be interesting for someone to ask him exactly in what way has he fought tooth and nail on this issue inside the government. The video of that meeting is online, and people can get it on YouTube at the Anyone But Nats page on YouTube, and they can get it on the Facebook page of Anyone But Nats. And if they Google Dougal Saunders on CSG, then they'll come across that video which records exactly what he was asked and exactly what he said. And people who hear it will know that he has sold out this community on the issue of CSG. And you can't sell out the community on too many issues that you commit to in a state election campaign and win a subsequent election. So Dougal Saunders, as far as I'm concerned, is well and truly on notice that this is one very serious mark against his name, and if there's more of them, he's sure to be defeated. And for people who won't have access to the video after the meeting, I might just play it now, Mr. Mayor.
I want to know from each candidate, do you support coal seam gas mining anywhere in New South Wales?
I wasn't actually expecting this question tonight. A joke. I am proud to say that I do not support any extractive industry across the state that has possible impact on water, or livelihood, or communities. I would happily support the rest of the PELs being cancelled completely. I'm pretty clear about where I stand, and I would support those other gas fields or those other PELs being put to bed.
While Dougal says that he personally is opposed, I'm just wondering if that's National Party policy.
I'd be happy to fight tooth and nail to make that part of policy.
I better pull you up on that one, Councillor Lawrence. I'm pretty sure I've never had anyone play a video in 20 years of this council, play audio like that, so I'm pretty sure it is, we can't allow that to continue under notice. Thank you.
If that's a breach, I apologise, Mr. Mayor. Look, it's pretty clear from that video that Dougal said what he said. He said what I'd earlier referred to. This was one of the red button issues of the 2019 state election. And to be honest, when I heard him say that, I thought how refreshing that Dougal is taking a different stance to other people in the National Party and senior people in the National Party on this most important issue. I, of course, wasn't tempted to vote for him as a consequence, but I'm pretty sure there would have been other people in the room who might have been tempted, and other people in the community who saw the follow-up media about what he said who probably did change their vote on that basis. Because there's a lot of people out there, particularly farmers, who really care about this issue. So what a betrayal of the community on a red button issue at the forefront, at the centre of the state election, to say those things at such a public forum, and then to go down to Macquarie Street and fold like a wet envelope. It's a really significant mark against his name.
Okay, further speakers or councillors? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to commend Councillor Moore for bringing this up, and and Councillor Lawrence for the music that overlaid that video. That was a nice touch. I think this is an incredible red button issue, as Councillor Lawrence termed it. In fact, I think it's so important that it should be kept in the forefront of community debate that, we really should have a standing motion every council meeting where we bring this up again and again and again, because out of all the issues at the last state election, this is the one that stirred the most emotions, that gathered the most people in protest against it. And they're protesting against it because in reality, and you can see this all around the world where water supplies have been disrupted and in some cases destroyed by fracking, that it really is playing Russian roulette with your water supplies. And if you've got a revolver with 6 chambers and a bullet in it, eventually at some stage that gun is going to fire. So I think this is something that we need to be resolute on, but we also need to be consistent in our opposition. Thank you.
Okay, further speakers at all? Councillor Gumley.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. If I wasn't so dumbfounded, you'd probably notice my outrage at the position that our local state member has taken recently in relation to coal seam gas. It seems pretty clear from the submissions that we've heard tonight, the submission from Councillor Lawrence, who, as he says, was in the room at the time that these remarks were made, and we've heard the recording from one of the public meetings prior to the last state election. I'm loath to criticise Mr Saunders in the absence of some sort of explanation from him, but with the weight of evidence stacked as it has, it seems that nothing but criticism of that position is warranted. Councillor Lawrence invited the constituents of Mr Saunders to contact him and ask him directly why it is he's taken this position, notwithstanding his position prior to the last election. To be honest, I think it's incumbent upon Mr Saunders not to bother waiting for the phone to ring, because there are serious questions that have been raised within our community and within the forum that we have here tonight that only he is in a position to answer. And it seems that he shouldn't wait to deliver his explanation to his community, because certainly as it stands at this point, he has not met the expectations of the people within his electorate, and he has some explaining to do. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gumley. Any further speakers? No? Okay. Well, look, councillors, my vote tonight will be to support the motion. As I've said time and time again, we need to back our farmers. Our farmers are saying that this is very, very dangerous when it comes to the long-term viability of this, well, effectively this part of the state. So many people now, in fact I dare say an outright majority of people now are saying that this is out of line, it's dangerous, it's causing problems to our underwater aquifers, we shouldn't be doing it. And as such, I'll be consistent in this one and say that I oppose this sort of CSG exploration and the fracking that's going on. I think that we need to be very, very careful when it comes to our water supply. We've seen, particularly over the last 12 months, how critical, how important it is, water for this country. We've seen how important it is that our underground water remains viable. We just can't stuff that up. It's as simple as that. Whilst I totally support this country being able to trade better and have energy independence, we also can't afford this country to lose its great asset, and that is its ability to make food, and for it being a great agricultural nation. So that being the case, I certainly do support the motion, and I will be consistent in opposing the CSG. Thank you. So I now put that motion. All those in favour? All those opposed? Declare it carried. If someone can invite Councillor Diffie back into the room, please. Okay, councillors, next on the agenda we have CCL 20/91, the request for leave of absence from Councillor A. Jones. Can I have a mover of that one? Councillor Gumley, seconded Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that? No, I put that. All those in favour? Carried. Now we move to CCL 20/92, the making of rates and charges for 2020-2021. Have a mover of that one, please.
I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
Move Councillor Lawrence, a seconder Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate? Yes, if we can have those read out. Thank you.
CCL 20/92, Resolution 1, that whereas the 2020/2021 draft operational plan was adopted by the Council on 27 April 2020, and whereas public notice of the 2020/2021 draft operational plan was given as per Section 405 of the Local Government Act 1993 in the form of a proactive media plan supported by an advertising campaign and online communications, and whereas a period of 28 days has lapsed since the commencement of advertising on 1 May 2020 and Council has taken into consideration submissions made concerning the draft operational plan and budget, it is hereby resolved that Council make the following rates and annual charges for the year 2020/2021, and that such rates and annual charges be the amount specified hereunder, subject to the minimum and base amount per assessment specified in the ordinary rates table included in the report of the Revenue Accountant dated 9 June 2020. Resolution 2, that whereas the 2020/2021 draft operational plan was adopted by the Council on 27 April 2020, and whereas public notice of the 2020/2021 draft operational plan was given as per Section 405 of the Local Government Act 1993 in the form of a proactive media plan supported by an advertising campaign and online communications, and whereas a period of 28 days has lapsed since the commencement of advertising on 1 May 2020 and Council has taken into consideration submissions made concerning the draft operational plan and budget, it is hereby resolved that Council make use of charges for the year 2020/2021 as outlined in the report of the Revenue Accountant dated 9 June 2020. Resolution 3, that whereas the 2020/2021 draft operational plan was adopted by the Council on 27 April 2020, and whereas Council has complied with the provisions of Section 610F of the Local Government Act 1993 and given public notice, open bracket, in accordance with Section 405, close bracket, of its 2020/2021 draft operational plan and has considered submissions duly made to it concerning the draft operational plan and budget, it is hereby resolved that the fees, contributions and user charges detailed in the Statement of Revenue Policy document of 2020/2021 draft operational plan and budget be applied for the year 2020/2021.
Okay, any discussion or debate on this matter? No, I will put that then. All those in favour? Carried. Carried. Now, councillors, we move on to CCL 20/93, the 2020-2021 Delivery Program and Operational Plan, Council Budget and Associated Documents. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Gumley, seconded Councillor Lawrence. Any discussion or debate? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move the following motion. CCL 20/93 bracket A close bracket, the 2020 and 2021 delivery program and operational plan, council budget and associated documents with waste management, that the 2020-2021 financial year fees and charges as amended and included in the Appendix 4 of the report of the Manager for Growth Planning dated the 10th of June 2020 with respect to waste management be adopted by Council with fees for the Wellington Waste Facility and rural waste facilities non-wave be amended as follows. The sorted recycling mixed waste up to a 1 cubic metre utility or small axle trailer, the current proposed fee is $20, the amended proposed fee is $14, the unsorted mixed waste up to 1 cubic metre utility or small axle trailer load unsorted, the proposed fee is $28 with the amended fee to be $18.
We've got a seconder for that one. Councillor Gumley, any discussion or debate on that one? No,
Mr Mayor, is it possible to move and add another amendment to that at this point?
So if it's a further amendment, you let this one go through?
Yep, sure.
And then, and then
thank you.
Pop off. If it's not a direct negative to the... so, okay.
This is actually a motion, Mr Mayor.
Okay, actually it is a... so it's your... okay, so it is a motion. Okay, so...
If Councillor Diffie wants to put an amendment in...
So you've actually moved a motion, not an amendment to the original...
No, I'm moving this as a motion.
Okay, so... All right, so an amendment from Councillor Diffie, yes.
I would like to move an amendment that Council change the NMC plus 150% for the showground charges to 100% plus NMC in line with the sports hire charge.
No seconder? Councillor Grant, any discussion or debate on the amendment? Councillor Ryan.
Just a point of order. As this is with waste management, and that isn't a separate amendment to the showground, I don't think it marries up with this motion.
So you're moving the whole report plus that motion. So it is actually technically ready to go. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, through you, could I just have some advice from staff on this one? Thank you.
Yes, Ms Coomber.
Through you, Mr Mayor, as Councillor Diffie has pointed out, the fees and charges in relation to electricity use, which is net metered use, is plus 100% for the sporting showgrounds for the sporting facilities, and the showground is currently net cost plus 150%. So bringing the two in line could make sense for our community groups.
Thanks. We have a comment or debate on the amendment.
Mr Mayor.
Councillor Gumley.
Given the explanation from the Director, it begs the question, why was the recommendation so different within the draft budget?
Question?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the showground made its change several years ago, back in line with sporting facilities, but it's come to my attention early just before the meeting that the sporting one was changed a couple of years ago in line with feedback that was received from the sporting clubs. So as Councillor Diffie raised, there are two discrepancies. They're two different facilities, obviously with different infrastructure needs, but in line with community groups that use both facilities. That would make sense to be aligned, but there are commercial groups that do use the showground as well.
Okay, further comment, debate? Councillors? So, okay, I put the amendment. All those in favour? Carried. Now the amendment has become the motion. Anything further, Councillor Moore?
Mr Mayor, I move another motion, the CCL 20/93B, the 2020-21 Delivery Program Operational Plan, Council Budget and associated documents, Family Daycare, that the 2020-2021 financial year fees and charges as amended and included in the Appendix 4 of the report of the Manager of Growth Planning dated the 10th of June 2020 with respect to family daycare be adopted by Council, with Council to postpone the 2.5% increase to fees and charges until the 1st of October 2020.
Seconder, please. Seconder, Councillor Grant. Any discussion or debate on that one? No. I'll put that. All those in favour? Carried. Okay, now, councillors, we move to... Oh, yes. If that can be read, please. Comes a substantive motion now.
One, that the 2020/2021 Delivery Program and Operational Plan as amended and included in Appendix 2 of the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council and commence operation on 1 July 2020. 2, that the long-term financial plan attached as Appendix 3 to the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council. 3, that the 2020/2021 financial year fees and charges as amended and included in Appendix 4 of the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council. Save and accept those fees and charges relating to waste management and the NMC reduction, which become item 93A, and family daycare, which become item 93B, that are dealt with separately. 4, that the 2020/2021 budget and capital expenditure as amended and included in Appendix 5 of the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council. That 5, that 2020/2021 Annual Statement of Revenue Policy attached as Appendix 6 to the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council. 6, that the 2020/2021 Macquarie Regional Library budget attached as Appendix 7 to the report of the Manager Growth Planning dated 10 June 2020 be adopted by Council. 7, that the 2020-21 fees and charges be amended to correct minor clarifications and typographical errors. 8, that the 2020/2021 Delivery Program and Operational Plan be amended to correct minor clarifications and typographical errors. 9, that the 2020/2021 fees and charges in respect of the Dubbo Theatre be amended to include an hourly rate of up to 3 hours of hire for the theatre data projector and screen as per the table included. 10, that the 2020/2021 fees and charges be amended to include a pro rata daily rate for usage of the Wellington Civic Centre for more than 8 hours and under 12 hours as per the table included. 11, that the 2020/2021 fees and charges be amended to include a pro rata daily rate for usage of the Dubbo Theatre for more than 8 hours and under 12 hours, as the table included for the City of Dubbo Eisteddfod. 12, that the 2020/2021 fees and charges be amended to include the following provisions in respect of the Dubbo Regional City Airport as follows. With the COVID-19 impact subsidy passenger fees, upon application and approval in writing from the Chief Executive Officer, Council provides a passenger fee subsidy of up to 30% for airline routes impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. This subsidy is not available to the airline routes that are operating under government subsidy from the Australian or New South Wales Government. This subsidy is available for a 3-month period only. This subsidy will be provided upon evidence of route viability less than 65%, and all accounts must be up to date with no arrears. COVID-19 impact security screening fees. Council will proportionately charge all RPT airlines based on share of total passengers every month the full cost of the contracted service invoice. This cost recovery process will continue under the condition of RPT Airlines receiving full subsidy for security screening charges from the Australian Government under COVID-19 stimulus packages. A $6.60 cost per person charge will return once government subsidies for security cease. 13, that in accordance with the requirements of Section 566, subsection 3 of the Local Government Act 1993, that the interest charged on overdue rates and charges be at the rate of 0% per annum for the period 1 July 2020 to 31 December 2020 and 7% per annum for the period 1 January 2021 to 30 June 2021. 14, that an advertisement be placed in local print media advising of Council's adoption of the 2020/2021 delivery program and operational plan, budget package and associated documents. 15, that those who made a submission be acknowledged and advised of Council's determination in this matter.
Okay, so we have that. Normalisation of it. The seconder. I put that. All those in favour? Carried. Okay, so now we move along to CCL 20/93B, 2020-2021 Delivery Program and Operational Plan, the Council Budget and Associated Documents and Family Day Care. Can I have a move of that one? Move Councillor Moore. Seconder. Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I put that. All those in favour? Carried. We move now to CCL 20/94, South Bridge Update. Can I have a mover of that one? Councillor Lawrence, a seconder. Councillor Diffie. Any discussion or debate? Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to put forward an amendment. That amendment being that this matter be deferred to the Infrastructure and Livability Committee meeting scheduled for Monday the 13th of July 2020 for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. That move, can I have a seconder of that one? Second, Councillor Grant. Discussion or debate on the amendment? No, I put that. All those in favour? Carried, and now the amendment has become a motion. Can I have a mover of the amendment has become the motion. Any further discussion or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? Right, no, carried. Now we move to CCL 20/95, the Draft Dubbo Transportation Strategy Review 2020. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Ryan, seconded Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I put that. All those in favour? Oh, no, carried. Now we move to CCL 20/96, Dream Festival and Event Funding, 2020-2021. Have a mover of that one, please. Move Councillor Lawrence, seconded Councillor Etheridge. Any discussion or debate on that one? No, I'd like to place on record my absolute appreciation for what the Dream Festival Committee has done over the so many years that they've been going here in Dubbo. The amount of work that not just the current members of the committee have done, but what they have previous members have done over the years has just been absolutely incredible. I'm the first to admit that I was highly sceptical of the Dream Festival when it first came along, but look, the figures backed up exactly what they were saying. They brought in a lot of cash for this Dubbo area. When it comes to visitation, when it comes to economic activity and driving, it really worked for Dubbo. It is a shame that I see it as being put on hold this year. It's a shame that this has happened, but I really am hoping that this goes on further and gets bigger and bigger in the years ahead. Once we get over this awful pandemic and this awful economic problem we're in, I'm hoping that the Dream Festival does continue to live on, and it will go and get even bigger and better next year. So I think that's. I think it should be. It's only fair that we mention how great a job that the committee has done over the years. So I now put that. All those in favour? Right, no, carried. CCL 20/97, the Draft Dubbo Regional Local Strategic Planning Statement, Results of Public Exhibition. Can I have a move of that one?
I'll move that.
Move Councillor Lawrence, second Councillor Diffie. Any discussion or debate? No, I put that. All those in favour? Carried. Now we move to CCL 20/98, the investments under Section 625 of the Local Government Act. Can I have a mover of that one, please? Moved Councillor Diffie, seconded Councillor Etheridge. In discussion, Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd like to declare a significant pecuniary interest in the matter now before the Council, and we'll leave the room and be out of sight during the discussion of such. The reason for such is that I am employee of the Bank of Queensland Dubbo branch, a bank that Council has funds invested with. Thank you.
Okay, and any comment or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? No, carried. If someone can invite Councillor Parker back into the room, thank you. Now, councillors, we move on to comments and matters of urgency. This month we'll start that way. Councillor Diffie. No, Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just, look, I want to put it on record here just to say congratulations to the local police and the New South Wales Police on busting the Western New South Wales drug syndicate in over the last few weeks. It's been a great outcome for not only Wellington but also the wider community and the wider region. But I suppose I just want to put it out there to say that we don't want to stop here, and I'd certainly encourage you, Mr Mayor, to put a letter forward to our local MP, Mr Dougal Saunders, and also the Police Minister and the Superintendent McKenna, just to ask them where to from here. What do we do? What do we need to do to stamp this out of our region? Obviously, we're pushing, certainly, and Councillor Lawrence is, for a rehab centre, and look, that's only just part of it. So I think if we're able to put a letter forward to those people and maybe even try and invite them to the table and have a bit of a chat and see what our next steps are to get this out, get this done. So thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Lawrence.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd like to echo those comments of Councillor Grant's. Firstly, to commend the police work in relation to the drug raids, but also, I suppose, to sound that note of caution about what now and what does the future hold. People will know, of course, that raids in respect of illegal drug activity occur, and it's never a long-term solution to the underlying problems. And these drug dealers who are dealing in methamphetamine and so forth are making big profits, and the people who want the product desperately want it, and they will get it by any means necessary. And people, whether from other areas or the same area, will come back in and continue to offer it. And really, the long-term solution, of course, is to address the underlying causes. That's not simple, but one issue, as Councillor Grant has said, that's been on the agenda now for years in our region, is a detox and rehab centre. That will take the pressure off the hospital in respect of detox, where people do detox, but will also give people the opportunity to rehabilitate in a state-of-the-art facility. I don't want to hark back to things said in the CSG debate, but we do have an issue in respect of this issue about a broken promise, because Troy Grant in 2015 told the community in the height of the 2015 election that plans for a rehab centre working with a drug court were close to being finalised and were well in train. Well, that was 5 years ago, and we're still waiting. And it will be indeed a black mark against our local member's name if that promise is not fulfilled in this term. And we all know what has happened with COVID and the state budget being delayed. We all know what is happening with the state government and the federal government committing stimulus money to infrastructure, expenditure and so forth. This is something supported across the political spectrum in our region. Every person who was a candidate in the last election supported it. This council supports it unanimously. I think you would struggle to find a person on the main street of Dubbo who doesn't support it, because there's been so much talk about it that people understand that it's key to community safety. It's key to attacking the underlying causes of crime. So the community is waiting for a positive announcement from the state government on this issue. and the state government will ultimately be held to account if it's yet another broken promise.
Councillor Etheridge.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Gumley.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to thank the people in our community who took the time to make submissions in relation to the council budget moving forward to the next financial year. And I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that there were very few submissions comparatively to other years, which I suppose can be seen as a good thing so far as council is concerned and the way that it is currently being operated, and I thank the council staff for their efforts in that regard. But perhaps more importantly, I'd like to just speak briefly about the position that council was able to take in relation to the river repair bus. We all know that small group of people do an outstanding job for what is effectively the lifeblood of much of our region in terms of tidying up our Macquarie River, removing rubbish, planting native vegetation along the various zones of that river, and ensuring that we're looking after it as best we possibly can with the resources that small group of a small group of staff and a larger group of volunteers put in. It's great that council has been able to come to a not insignificant funding arrangement with the river repair bus, because we know that they draw much of the money that they need to continue their operations from the Burrendong Easter Fishing Classic, and that's sadly firstly because of drought, and secondly because of course the COVID-19 situation. It's been unable to proceed for 2 years in a row, and undoubtedly that has made a significant financial impact on the running of the bus and having that vital work continue. So it's fantastic that council has been able to come to the party after they approached us and said that they needed some assistance to continue with the work that they do in our community. And it's good also, of course, because it improves upon the environmental credentials of this council, specifically, of course, in relation to the river. This council has proceeded with the installation of some gross pollutant traps designed to stop the waste from getting into the river in the first place, and it's encouraging that more of those are to be rolled out in the future. It's important to the community that the money that they are spending as a result of paying their rates and taxes, and then councillors determining where that money ought to go, it's important for the community to be able to actually see something tangible, a tangible benefit to their community and the environment that they live in. And the river repair bus, the gross pollutant traps, they all do that. They all make an appreciable difference to the environment and our community. So it's good that we're taking real, actual action in relation to preserving and repairing our natural environment. I just wanted to say thank you to the people that made those submissions, and that it's great that we're able to assist the river repair bus. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gumley. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I'd like to echo what Councillor Gumley has just said about the river repair bus. You know, it's always been that our coast, where the good fish are, is where the media spotlight's been. But since the inland waterways got going, a lot of that's come out to Dubbo. On Thursday, I was out at Trengy, where they put a very large fish screen installation in, and once again, it was a few core scientists, passionate scientists for 10 years in DPI fisheries, based in Port Stephens and a couple of other places. And it was fisheries and volunteers from inland waterways who pushed that fish screening. We put a couple of million fingerlings in our river systems in New South Wales each year, and our straws into the river, the irrigation, the town water supplies, they suck out about 100 million native fish. So really, they've got no chance. But in the US, it's now legislated that irrigation pumping intakes have to have fish screens on them. The Fisheries Department guys have spent 10 years of research working out how to protect our slow-moving, lazy, laid-back Aussie fish from the pumps. It's quite a different problem when you've got salmon-like type fish that are strong swimmers in the US. We need a completely different screen here. And a lot of this has happened purely because of these very same volunteers. Started off, and there's always been about 17 of them, and they've made all this money from the Lake Burrendong Classic, and they've always just put it directly back into the river. And not only have they galvanised community opinion, they've highlighted to this council what volunteer collaboration with council can do. And I'm very proud to be on a council. I had to excuse myself from that decision, but I'm proud to be on a council that is supporting and enhancing and enabling and facilitating volunteer groups that put their money where their mouth is. Thank you.
Councillor Moore. Councillor Parker.
Nothing, Mr Mayor.
Well, that almost finishes tonight's meeting of council, though we do move into committee of the whole. So can I have someone move that we go into committee of the whole and then confidential? Move Councillor Gumley, second Councillor Moore. Any discussion or debate on that matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know, carried. Usually I'd thank members of the public and media for being here tonight, but I suppose tonight it's all about just turning off the web stream. So if we can do that, so we can go into confidential council. Can someone please move, can the Executive Manager of Governance and Internal Control read the Committee of the Whole report, please?
Item CW20/9, Moffat Estate, sale of council-owned land adjoining Lot 27, DP 1131385, 5 Magurum Crescent. The committee recommends that 1. That the boundary adjustment of Lot 27, 111-31385 and Council's Part Lot 22, DP 1223592 be undertaken to increase the area of Lot 27 by 5,250 metres squared. 2. That the 5,250 metres squared portion of Moffat residue land be sold to the owner of Lot 27 for $210,000, excluding GST. 3. That council be responsible for all costs associated with the design and registration of the boundary adjustment. 4. That the purchaser be responsible for all fencing costs associated with the boundary adjustment. 5. That all documentation in relation to this matter remain confidential to the council and be executed under power of attorney. Item CW20/10, acquisition agreement for road opening Sunnyside Road, locality of Jones Creek. 1. That council rescind the change of vesting agreement made between New South Wales Department of Primary Industries Crown Lands, Dubbo City Council and Mr Jeffrey and Margaret Chow of 2012. 2. That council rescind the council resolution of CCL 19/147, report Sunnyside Road opening locality of Jones Creek. 3. That council adopt the compensation agreement now made with Mr Craig and Carolyn Chadd, open bracket, successors of Mr Jeffrey and Margaret Chadd, close bracket, as detailed within the report of the Property Development Officer dated 10 June 2020. 4. That council pay $13,636.36 plus GST to Mr Craig and Carolyn Chadd for council's acquisition of proposed Lot 2 having an area of 3.15 hectares as shown in the unregistered plan of subdivision of Lot 21 DP 588497 prepared by Doherty, Smith and Associates. 5. That all documentation in relation to this land acquisition agreement be executed under power of attorney, and that all documentation and considerations in relation to this matter remain confidential to the council.
Okay, can I have a mover of that one, please? Move Councillor Moore, a seconder, Councillor Grant. Discussion or debate on the matter? No, I put that. All those in favour? I know carried, and I'd like to thank everyone for your attendance at this meeting of Dubbo Regional Council. Thank you very much.